Hey, how you
Hey,
doing? You
how are
took the
you?
time, eh? No, I'm good. I'm good. That was a bit mad. That one. That was moving crazy.
Slight panic. I always panic. I'm like, well, come on, where
Mm.
are you?
I was actually there. I was actually there, kind of waiting, but then obviously I didn't see anything, so I just kind of like, you know,
All good, all
just
good. We have you now. We have you now. How's
what's
things?
happening? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
All good, all good. Just as the same as everyone, they've they've adjusted the measures, so I'm just enjoying stuff, being back out a little bit more.
Are you in the UK? You're in the UK now?
Yeah. I'm in the UK. I'm here at the minute. Dillian and the team are over there.
Yeah. So what are you kind of spending your days doing? I mean, I think everyone is just trying to like I'm trying to do stuff like this. I'm trying to plan for when shows are back. I think everyone's just trying to keep
Yeah,
busy and do
yeah.
what they can.
For me, it's similar. Just family, little one. I've got little ones. So with them, um, go to the park with some of the boys.
Hmm.
Try and keep them mentally focused. The ones who are, on it. Try and give them a little bit of advice on the phone or, different stuff. Because obviously, when they meet me and maybe go and train in the park up, we go through drills and we do stuff. It's not enough just doing that there. You got to do that when you're in your own time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I want them to just make sure they're mentally strong, got the right mindset, and just ready for when everything opens up back up. And I
Hmm.
know it's difficult for people in this trying time to have that kind of mental mindset to kind of continue training with no end goal or no vision in sight, if it would be, because the smaller shows, a lot of people are talking about September, possibly even next year. So
Hmm.
if you're not on a big show, you're going to be really down the line. But that's going to separate the real genuine contenders who want to be up there and consider themselves elite fighters. So you got to have that mindset. Train all year round. Train smart. Look after your body and just stay ready.
Well, that's a really good point because there's a lot of, talk on Twitter and amongst the fighters saying, there's a lot of banter. I'm going to come out of this much stronger than I went in. And, those that really want, the real fighters will push through and be ready for whenever fights are back and stuff like that. But that's kind of just what you're saying, the kind of, I suppose, self-discipline, I suppose, is a
Yeah,
big part of it. Can you hear me?
you're breaking up. You're breaking up quite a bit. I don't know what's going on there, but
Can you hear
it's
me now?
jumping. Yeah. No, it was just jumping a little bit. But yeah, I know what you mean. Well, that's kudos to them if they, if some of the guys are, mentally strong that they can switch on and keep that mindset, that killer instinct on. Train, eat well, train. It is hard, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because obviously, if you're not going to be around people and you've been isolated, it is difficult. Um, but like I said, that's a champion's mindset. If you can have it, it's great. And it will separate you. I think there might be a few upsets when this is all undone. We're gonna actually find out if some of these people are literally living the life as athletes. We're gonna see
Hmm.
if if some of the guys who are hungry coming from the smaller shows, like Eddie suggested, maybe fighting his guys. We're gonna see who really wants it, who's been applying and dedicating himself to the sport of the game. I'm saying, boy, try and sort out the Wi-Fi. I'm outside, so I'm thinking this is as best as it's going to get. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, good. We'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah, apologies. Sorry,
No, it's
guys.
all good. Don't worry about it. And if it does cut out, we'll sort it out. We'll get you on again. We'll figure it out. But we'll
Yeah,
keep going until it happens again. So
yeah,
talk to me about BlvckBox Management, because what I was kind of saying before we got cut off is it's pretty new enough company in terms of being on the scene and everyone being familiar with the brand and what you
yeah.
do. So what's the plan? What's the kind of the
Do you know what?
idea
It's
for the
just to
next couple of
network and
years?
work with people, as many people as I can. You know. Um, say that again.
Tell us about it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you
Hello?
hear me? Yeah, can you hear
Bloody
me?
internet. Fuck. Hello?
Whoever your internet provider is, you need to cancel that contract right now.
All right, it's working now. So, yeah, Black Box is a relatively new company. I've been in the game of boxing for a while, and obviously, I just love being in there, being able to like maybe coach, advise, and manage, and trying to plan a strategic plan to, you know, a strategy for fighters or the boys I've got to do stuff, you know. So before I was like, you know, I'm always in the gym and ticking over and doing something. So for me, with, you know, being behind Dillian and the rest of the guys, advising them, I felt like it was a natural progression step to do. So I've got a few boys. I manage them with people as well. So you know, I've got Steve Woodall, he's that from Birmingham. Literally just about to sign him to Warren. So you know, I'm his manager advisor from before. So I brought on Francis Warren. We're gonna do a joint thing. So I work with Warren quite a bit at the minute. Obviously, everything's a bit locked down sometimes. You know, it's hard communicating with them and getting things done as I'd like it. But as much as I'd like to rush, we can't rush the process sometimes, you know. So that's one. I've got a cruiserweight Ifni. He was meant to be fighting on the Usyk and Derek Chisora bill. I've got Mason Smith. He was meant to come out in September in Wembley on another bill. There's a few more little guys which I've got a pencil in. I'm working with, but haven't put any pen to paper. And then there's a few other boys that are just around I've got and I deal with. So, you know, I just love boxing anyway, you know what I mean? I love talking about it. I love being in the gym. I love watching the transition from them understanding the strength and conditioning side and understanding boxing as a whole and understanding it's not just about a fight, it's about adapting, using your jab, when to pivot, when to use your footwork, when to fight, and not maybe fight too early, because some guys, you know, some guys who've got power always, and I tell one of my guys, he's got a lot of power, can punch, and I say it's not always about the biggest puncher, because sometimes you see the bull gets tamed by the matador, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, an analogy which is you'll calm you down, let you blow your load, and then kind of get you out of there kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I'm saying to him, I'm trying to get him to use his brain a little bit more, use his jab. The jab is the best weapon in boxing. So it's like I'm doing coach management kind of side, really, you know what I mean? But irrespective of which way it is, you know, I want to be in the gym. I want to give these guys the experience which I have. And I think the way we've done it, I think is a good way. And not everyone's going to have the mindset of a Dillian Whyte, mind you, I should say that. But, you know, you're going to have that mindset where you never want to give up. You want to have that attitude where you want to, you know, continue to train and push yourself to the absolute limit. Obviously, he fought contender after contender. And sometimes where people thought he was going to come up short, he won. Because, you know, like if you go check the book, sometimes he wasn't the favorite. And then he won and he won and he won. And he became the fans' favorite, you know. One of the fans' favorites, and now he's a pay-per-view star. So I'm saying to the boys, you know, you can try to emulate that. But I mean, you're going to, you know, he's a beast in himself, in his work ethic, in his attitude. He's got, there's no, there's no second place. Boxing is first, second, third, fifth, and just continue. That's what it is. You got to live, sleep, and have that kind of attitude. And you got to listen to your team that's around you. I think that's the most important thing. Sometimes fighters, some fighters believe, you know, they might know more because they're in the ring. I get that. You're taking the punches, but what you do is, if you get people in on your team is the ones that help you get to the position.
I hear you. So in the context,
so you got to kind of, you know, trust them, trust the process. You got to go out there and do the work. But I think it's a cumulative kind of effect where your team, you're going to have faith in their work ethic and what they're going to plan and strategize and strategize the route, because you got everyone.
How did you get started on this whole journey, and why boxing?
Do you know what? We came from like kickboxing, Muay Thai, you know. We used to fight for Red Dragon. And then I came from like wrestling, MMA a little bit, mainly wrestling. Did a bit of jiu-jitsu in Brazil, but then my main thing was Muay Thai kickboxing. So we came from that, and then Dillian was like, you know, I want to go pro, man. I can beat them suckers. So he's had that mentality for, you know, from a young age, and I was like, okay. I was like, why boxing? This is way better than boxing. Like kickboxing, you can kick someone in the head, knee him, elbow him. This is great, you know, like this is it. But obviously he had his plan. He's like, nah, trust me, I can beat these guys. And then after that, I used to just go around and say, oh, if he says he can do it, I'm just like, yeah, man, my bro's the next champ, man. He's gonna do this. People used to always go like, Oh yeah, good on you, mate. All right, who's your bro? Never heard of him. You know, like, that was a favorite thing people use. No, I never heard of him. All right, good luck. I was like, don't worry, you see. And
So tell me, when you were doing jiu-jitsu, was it gi jiu-jitsu or no gi?
nah, I hate that geese shit, man. That's cheating. I think
Give
that's
over.
cheating. Man, that's cheating. Them little small guys can get away with more murder with that shit there. They choke your ass out. Trust me. No. That shit. Now, I hated gi, you know, because when they get you in a little choke thing, and no, nasty bits of work, them guys in there.
That's my
Yeah, now
area.
they
That's
got
my
to work
field.
harder with. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I used to like that. I was in America for a little bit, and I went to Brazil. I was in Sao Paulo.
Wow.
And I think it's really, if truth be told, it's a smaller man's game, the jiu-jitsu, man. It's very intricate, man, the moves and stuff, man. Big guys, big old muscles, trying to bend them and do certain shit. I just didn't find it. I liked the wrestling and the holding aspect where I could, some of it really weren't like up my alley a little bit. It's kind of hard for bigger people, you know what I mean? But if you could move right and you've got agility, then so it can work for you.
Absolutely. And in terms of then, yourself with fighting, what was it for you? When did you get into it, I suppose? And at what stage did you kind of like feel that you wanted to test yourself?
I got into the fight game quite late, you know, if truth be told. Probably like, could be like maybe 30, could be 29, something like that, maybe. I don't even know. Could be a little bit off. I can't bloody remember, but you know, around there. Maybe 29, something like that. Could be just before 30-ish.
Late. Do you think, or what do you think would have been different if you had started it at a young age? If you had been in your teens when you started?
I reckon, yeah, I would have definitely been trying to compete. Because what I know now and how I can, you know, move. And even today I was training with a guy, and I'm just showing him, you know, it's rhythm. You know, he's a big geezer, he's strong, I'm saying, but you know, you got to understand your body, how it moves, and you know, like, and the flexibility. And I get it, you know, you want to, you know, like when you're big and strong, you think it's like your force movement, but it's actually your skill and timing and making those adjustments. And that's just fighting in general. It's all chess moves and being smart. And I say the bigger you are, obviously now you're gonna have to be a lot more smarter in terms of efficiency in your body, you know, because big guys, they're gonna have, you know, the muscle, they'll burn out faster. Shout out to AJ, but obviously he's a prime example of, you know, when you've got a lot of muscle, and he's done tremendous for the sport of boxing, mind you. Notice it's not a dig or anything, but I mean, when you are big of stature and got a lot of muscle, you will fatigue and, you know, burn out a lot quicker, you know. And he had a lot of problems with that for a while. And so what I'm trying to put into these guys, you know, it's not always gun-ho shoot. Try and have a strategy, especially in boxing, because it's called boxing first and foremost. It's not fighting. It's not overhand. It's not big old looping hooks. It's called boxing. So have a plan, have a strategy, and your team are going to tell you that, and go out there and implement that. And try and do that as much as you can and save as much energy as you can until you need, because when it's boxing, you're going to start boxing, and then eventually your shape's going to go, and then you'll start to fight. You're not going to start fighting and then turn to boxing after. It's very rare you see guys have the energy and can do that middle way through. There are some people that can make adjustments like that, but I think if you instill this from the guys early, they'll go out there and they'll be disciplined, listen to their corner, and try and not go and have a shootout in round one and give it a 50-50 chance of losing. You know what I mean? Management and what it takes. It's not just making and matchmaking just to fight. I think there's more to it, because to be honest, the games have evolved so much in terms of, you know, the marketing, branding of fighters. So there's things they got to do outside of the ring as important as inside the ring, because you've got people who've got great talent out there, you know, and they've not been given a shot in, and they've not been on the big stages. You know, at the minute, Eddie Hearn's changed the game. Frank Warren and them are still in there. They've been around a long time, and they're giving guys an opportunity to kind of showcase their skills. But at the same time, I feel like the guys have got to do a little bit more branding for themselves and get themselves that, because you could go on Love Island, come out famous. No dig. It's not about digs again. I'm saying you could go on Love Island, come out famous with loads of followers, and then now you become a big ticket seller, and now you become pay-per-view guy, or you become a, you know, headliner on a big show. You know what I'm saying? So there's different things in boxing, but I think like I for me, I go to most shows. I'm quite about. I like boxing, so I'm at the smallest show to the biggest show. So my relationship with promoters and fighters, with managers, is quite good and quite strong. And I think that's a good thing, to have that connection with the people they're about. So that works in my favor in terms of trying to place boys. Sometimes it's not as easy, because what someone says to your face and then what they say do is another thing behind your back. So
Yes.
it is kind of a like a hard. I sometimes say boxing is a very nasty game, which it can be at times, because there is a lot of nasty people in this game. Sorry to say, but at the end of the day, I still wouldn't change anything for me. I just love going out, the nights, the fans. When you go to the big show, they're singing, they're screaming, the songs, the atmosphere. Listen, it just can't be beat for me anyway. And you got to take the rough with the smooth. So sometimes you got to not take things too personal. Plays a big part. But I think it is hard where some guys don't get sponsors. Some guys are big ticket sellers, and then they're not even that great at boxers, so they get on a bigger show. There's so many different factors, but if you look at the grand scheme, there's boxers that's been in the sport a long time, and some have never won any of these titles, and they're not journeymen. They've just been unlucky, and sometimes the game has been harsh to some of these boys. The game's been harsh to these boys, but I mean, it's a combination. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's the people. It's like a combination of many things that need to, the stars need to align for you sometimes. You know what I mean? But I think it has become a little bit easier. Like I said, with the likes of Eddie, MTK, got to big up those boys. They're putting on loads of shows. They're getting loads of boys out there, and people are earning a little crust on them. But a lot of the guys want to be on TV to showcase their skills. If they're good enough, they want to be there. They want to get to the money. They want to prove their worth and say to people, look, listen, those who didn't believe me, look at me now. This is what I'm doing, and I'm applying myself and getting the acknowledgement that I deserve. So.
In terms of the growth then of the sport, because obviously we have the small shows, for the amateurs and the guys that are, starting off in their pro careers in the community centres and all that. And then we have the massive shows that the likes of Frank Warren are doing and Eddie Hearn. And like you said, MTK are now bringing in that kind of middle ground where like the shows like on York Hall and stuff like that. But what, in your opinion, needs to be done to ensure that the growth of boxing prospers and that we've more opportunities been given to the newer guys in the sport?
Do you know what? I just think it's all the grassroots stuff. You got the small shows. You got Mo Pryor. You got Mickey Elliott. You got Goodwins. Those boys have done great stuff, and then some of the boys that's been on their shows have gone on to do other stuff. At the minute, actually, funny enough, I think I'm actually going to go into a bit of promoting myself with a few of my boys. So literally, I'm going to try and have a whole packaging system where we have it from the coaching and management to the promotion, and kind of like get the boys into position to kind of move on up into better positions. If I do get a broadcaster that's going to come on and help, that's going to be wonderful, because then, I'm going to be able to do a lot more stuff. And I think really good stuff, you know what I mean? Because like I said, a lot of the boys I've got around, I'm literally like hands-on, very, very much hands-on. And, I talk to and we communicate. And, I want to make sure the same thing. Like I said, I've been in the game. I've seen what I need to, and I'm just going to advise them the same way. It's down to them to apply what I'm giving them, the knowledge and wisdom, instead of going to do it a certain way and coming up short and say, oh, what did I do wrong now? It's best to try and learn in the beginning, go out there and try and apply themselves. But yet again, it's not always going to work for everyone, but it's better to give yourself a good starting chance. But going back to that, I think the small hall shows are always going to be good. Sometimes on the big shows, some of the boys, they go out there, they come from like good amateur pedigree, go up there, go into the big stage, and then sometimes they're not really ready. They get rushed a little bit, and then they come up short. So I think doing what the smaller shows sometimes is good, or a mixed bunch, so you understand dealing with nerves, dealing with certain, like taking the crowd up. Because when you go and fight in, imagine making your debut on an arena, which is like, obviously a lot of the boys ain't got 20,000 people in there when they're fighting, but making from your team and picking the right opponent. You know, sometimes you can get guys on the way out, or sometimes, you know, sometimes you might think a guy's on the way out and he still has a little bit left in the tank, but then you should have assessed his last 3 performances before. Someone only sometimes checks the last performance they've done and said, yeah, he's washed up, you can get him out of there, and then, you know, gas up the fighter a little bit, and then he goes and he says, you know what, I think I can do that. And sometimes that actually happens. It's the fighter actually sometimes egging it on as well, saying, do you know, I watched that guy, I think I can beat him. You know, that's a good attitude to have. That's the attitude a fighter should have. You should think you should beat someone. But then at the same time, if they're ahead of you, they're ahead of you for a reason. So what we'll do is we'll plan and strategize. And when the time is right, that may be a fight that does it. And if that's not the fight, it's sometimes it goes that way. It's sometimes the people you don't fight who are very hard and difficult, that is the difference between you going on to do great and do things. Because if you fought where you're not meant to fight, or sometimes if you don't have the right mental toughness to come back, it's just a downward spiral. And that's happened to a lot of fighters where they lose and they just lose their way. Because losing is hard for people to take. If you've got a winner's mindset and you want to win, and you put a lot in and you lose, sometimes it could be crushing and devastating, and sometimes it's hard to come back from that. So as a whole, I look at the people who are with me as family. I'm going to look after them. I'm going to make sure I can. That's why any guys, I talk to them about many things. I'll talk to them about nutrition. I'll talk to them about strength and condition. I'll talk to them, even if they got coaches, I want to know if they're doing certain other things, because I don't want them, and then it falls on me, like you say, and you pick the fight for me, but then if you're not doing what you're meant to do in the gym, it's not my fault. Because you know, that's why I ask people certain stuff. I'll come down and maybe come to my gym. Let me see how you're doing with a couple of the boys I've got here. Let me see how you look on the bag. Let me see how you look in sparring. These are things I do so I can assess where you are. Because then it comes down to, oh, you matched me bad, but then I don't know what you're doing in your gym with your people. You lot might be, you might be getting gassed up, you're doing pads, and they're going, yeah, you're wonderful, you beat everyone in the way. Go on, you killed a lot of them. Furthermore, I'm going to stick you with a world champion. You bloody tear his head off. But you might not be ready. You know, like, look what they're doing with Mike Tyson now. Mike Tyson done 8-second clip doing 8-second clip doing pads, and now they're talking about he can beat Anthony Joshua. My friend, please. He didn't even beat Danny Williams. Please, my friend, please stop this foolishness. You get me? I like Mike, man. I'm a big fan of Mike. But Danny Williams, and Danny Williams, credit to him as well, no disrespect either. He was a good man at his time. But Danny Williams smashed up Mike Tyson in 4 rounds. So now you're saying Mike was 38 when he got beaten by Danny. And then now you're saying prime Anthony Joshua, specimen champ. And then this guy, 50-50 something's going to go and beat Anthony Joshua and beat Deontay Wilder. My friend, you must be smoking some different stuff. Please, I beg you, go home and wake up, smell the coffee.
Well, he is smoking a lot.
As well, and imagine he smoked. Come on, man. Mike was a good hero and he was a good influence of people coming up. But Mike cannot beat these guys. It doesn't matter how people say, oh, the guys of old, Larry Holmes, this man, that man. So what? That's past. Those guys come from something totally different. Their hunger, their desire, everything was totally different for those people when they were growing up. You know what I mean? Coming from here, it's a different thing. You know, some people still live good and over here on benefits and whatever they're on, you know what I mean? Not being funny. If you've come from the 70s or the 80s where there was a crack epidemic in America and they didn't have any money, they didn't have any benefits. So fighting was literally a way out. That's all they had. Over here now, people don't only have fighting as their own. People are making money from other means and doing whatever they're doing. But going back to Mike, big fan of Mike, no disrespect to Mike. Mike smokes a lot of weed. He looks great on the pads, but he ain't beating no top contender. Evander Holyfield, I think if the only one he needs to fight is Evander Holyfield, this is his chance for redemption to beat him. He beat his air off last time, and then he got bashed up the second time. This is his chance maybe to beat Evander. That's the only hope I'm giving him in something. And that is not a given, because Evander's tough, and he's shown that.
Well, why do you think it is that boxing fans and the boxing public are so kind of obsessed with comebacks, with rematches and comebacks? Like, why do we want to see it so much? Why can't we just let the past be the past and move on and deal with the future?
you know, sometimes the imagination runs wild with people. You know, the imagination is a wonderful thing. It lets you live in a world where you could dream and fantasize about fantasy matches and stuff like that. And then, you know, if you love boxing, you know, right now, I didn't see Ali fight like I saw him. I'm thinking about if I could get to see Ali come back and fight in an imagination, I would like to see that. You know, if I could go back in time and see that fight or whatever, even for Mike Tyson, when I was coming up, I used to, you know, get up and try and watch that and stuff like that. But I mean, if I could go back in time, whatever. Right now, people talk about, oh, these guys coming back, but what they're looking at, it's wrong timing. They can't go back and fight none of these elite boys. I've got boxing groups on my phone where people add me. I don't always talk to them, but you know, like I got a friend who's there and he adds me, and then sometimes I comment, sometimes I don't. But some of the stuff they come up with is ridiculous. So, yeah, that guy was saying, yeah, that guy would knock out Anthony Joshua in round one. I would want to say to this guy, man, slap yourself, my friend, man. Do yourself a favor. Throw yourself in the trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this man will beat Dillian Whyte, or yeah, my mate in the pub, he done like great rounds on the pads, you know, he looks good. He looks better than how Dillian. But then you go and perform like these guys. Go up there, deal with the nerves, become a pay-per-view. Everyone is great from their couch. That's a big fact.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone's great from their couch. Everyone's a great champ eating a bag of chips, drinking beer, talking about they would have done backflips and done this and done. Listen, man, it's not as easy as that. You know what I mean? When we look back, let me change the demographic of the person I'm talking to now. This was a guy, yet again, no discredit. He's done good in boxing. He's still in boxing. David Price. David Price beat Tyson Fury as an amateur. He was a bronze medal winner. He was one of the big hopes in boxing. I remember when we was coming up, we was with Maloney when Dill fought on a few of them shows, and Frank Maloney. And I remember David Price was the main guy heading the bill and doing stuff. And he was the guy big punching David Price from Liverpool. You know what I mean? Doing good until he came up against Tony Thompson. And that's another prime example of bad matchmaking. Oh my God, bad matchmaking. But yet again, they thought they caught the old boy, you know, cold. Yeah. They thought they had a good chance. But what they should have done is, as a good team, they should have known he was soundly beat and said, hey, buddy, listen, we're going to take a rain check on the rematch. We're going to go another way. You see, after he lost it 2 times, I like David Price and I speak to him and I give, you know, I always try and root for him when I can. But what they've done is it's bad matchmaking. They went in there 2 times and lost to a man who was 40 then. He's never been able to recover and get back that confidence he had as a crushing David Price with the crazy power and going through these wars, you know what I mean? And it's just never been the same. So going back on, you know, management and things in the past, there's, you know, there's an upside and there's a downside. This game is just whatever works, the necessary evil that happens in the game, you know.
So Mike Tyson leave well alone is what you're saying, right?
Say that again. Mike
Tyson leave well alone is what you're saying.
Listen, I get it. I get what Mike Tyson is trying to do. He's trying to get the money. He's trying to get that money. I don't blame him trying to get that money. Listen, they're going to give Mike... Listen, fans are going to watch to see Mike Tyson get smoked, and then he's going to bring out his blunt in the ring and really smoke after he gets smoked or whatever, because I don't know who Tyson's going to be. I think psychologically, for him and Evander's got his card. You know, Evander beat him twice, soundly beat him twice. I think Evander might have his card. It's a great opportunity for him to maybe say, oh, maybe I can beat Evander now, because he does look a little bit more explosive. But we can't be tricked by punching pads. You can't be tricked by punching pads, punching bags, showing 8-second clip. It's just like saying, like, if you do your hair and makeup now and 10 minutes later someone phones you off guard, you take all your hair's all messy, you take your lip gloss off. You know, like with makeup, you know how it goes, and they go, hey, wait a minute, like, you know that. Yeah. So it's just one of them. How do we know how he performed the rest of the minutes after the pads? You know what I mean? So I get it. It's marketing. This is why marketing is finest. Eddie is a brilliant promoter to take advantage and capitalize off branding. KSI, Paul Logan, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. He's going to make the fans believe they can fly to the effing moon. He's going to say, Mike Tyson's back. He's got his weed. He's ready. He's going to jump off the ring and he's going to knock them out. And, you know, he's going to make the people buy it. He's going to make them buy into it, you know.
Well, that's a really good point, because I wanted to ask you, because there is 2 things that you mentioned there. You know, we're in an era now of the social media fighter, and like that, so easy for fighters to put up a clip, hitting pads or looking like an absolute beast, and it just doesn't translate to how they actually fight when they're in the ring. And
Exactly.
also, fighters complaining about other fighters being given big opportunities because they can sell tickets, because they're big on social media. Like, you know, is that just the business of boxing? Do they just need to embrace that?
Do you know what? You're going to have to embrace it one way or the other. Do you know what? Talent will shine through sometime, but sometimes you might not get the break you deserve. But at the same time, if you get the break, there's still work to do once you get the opportunity. You know what I mean? There's things you're going to have to work on to try and keep yourself. You got a lot of boys. A lot of people say a lot of the boys on Matchroom are not vocal. You know, they have a persona where they're not out there, they're not outspoken. They just, yeah, we're gonna go in there, I'm gonna win, I'm ready, I've trained for it, I've done my best, I've done the runs, I've done this, I'm gonna go out there, put on a clinical, I'm gonna win. And that's it.
Yes.
See me tonight, you'll see. You know, like some people, some people buy into that, some don't. No mockages again, no mockages, but this is a conversation I've had with someone,
Yes.
and everyone, some people like for example, O'Hara Davis. He talks a bag of smoke. He lives up to it. Sometimes he falls. He gets an egg on his face. I like O'Hara, big up O'Hara as well. He gets an egg on his face, but sometimes he comes back and he takes it, man. He takes it. And you know what it is? Those are the guys that strive and will make a little earning. Like he said, listen, I bought 2-3 houses out of the game. I'm doing okay. He's not an elite, but I'm doing okay. But he knows how to market himself. He's the bad guy in a lot of people's eyes, but he's still the guy that's getting paid. And sometimes, some people used to tune in for Floyd because of his cockiness, he's being brash, he's bossy. But some people tuned in because they wanted to see his ass get smacked. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky one in this game, but you got to market yourself. You got to have a plan. Your boxing will, put you most of the way, but at the same time, you got to be charming and engaging. That's the word, I think. Engaging with fans, building your fan base, trying to listen. These are the people that pay to come and watch you. These are the people that pay for pay-per-view. You got to give them your time. All of those kind of things. It's for me, I give a lot of time to fans because I respect that they respect me enough to want to listen to me. Take time to DM me. If they take time to DM me, most of them, if not all of them, I will respond because I think, without fans, we have no sport. You know what I mean? Those are the people that make the night what it is. Singing, chanting, being there, getting involved, man. Without them, we've got no boxing. And the fighters that don't get that, I don't really, kind of annoys me if truth be told, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get fighters that get a bit too big for their boots, they're there and they think they got themselves there. I hear you, I do hear you, I definitely hear you. But, their fans really got you there, buddy. They're paying for your pay-per-view. They bought you tickets to come and see you fight, win, lose or draw. Those are the nights, you know what I mean? Those are the shining beacons that you got to give respect to. And, there are fighters that do it and give their time. And it's very important, you know what I mean? It's very, very important. Without the fans, look, as you can see now, look, without the fans, Mo Pryor, MTK, maybe MTK, they might do their shows, Goodwin, and a lot of the smaller shows, Mickey Elliott, they're not going to be able to perform. The likes of Matchroom and Frank Warren can perform because they've got the budget with the broadcasters behind them. But yet again, the fans will tune in online and pay their money and show their support for their guys, you know what I mean?
I hear you. Speaking of the fans, there are some questions in the question box from fans who want to ask you
I
some
don't want
questions.
to ask no questions. At this moment, there is no comment to make. Please talk to my lawyer. Talk to my lawyer, please. Goodbye, Nanja.
Shania Witherspoon. So this is the infamous Tim Witherspoon's daughter. Shania has asked, "What was your favorite fight?"
What was my favorite fight?
Your favorite fight?
I liked that Castillo versus the American guys. You know the welterweights. What are they? Castillo and one of the guys that fought Mayweather.
Oh,
It's an old fight. Anyway, I like that fight. I liked quite a few of Lennox Lewis's fights. I liked
Riddick Bogle's a good fighter as well, but I'm a big fan of Lennox Lewis, you know. I think people really only rated Lennox Lewis once he retired, you know what I mean? But there's so many different fights, you know, what I really like. But I mean, the fight I want to try and tell you is, it's on the tip of my tongue. I watched it again the other day. It was the Castillo versus... And no one in the comment know what the fight I'm talking about. They're the guys that Mayweather fought.
Let's see. I
said,
can't remember. I'm drawing a blank here. Let's see if
yeah,
anyone
but
else can get
that was a tremendous fight. Even the fights against what's the Irish man's name? You must remember that guy, the one.
C. Collins.
Not Dempsey. No, not him. My memory's a bit messed up.
What Irish fighter from?
What? He's died now. He died, but he was a little machine. He took too much punches. You know, the one I'm talking about was in America. Took a lot of punches. Fought Mayweather.
Oh,
he was a hell of a.
Oh my God. Oh my God. How can I not remember this?
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I'm retiring after this interview. This is my last one. I'm done. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Godric has asked, do you think there is potential of Dillian fighting Fury after his fight with Povetkin?
You know, if he's a WBC champ, that is all the likely. Obviously, I'm reading today in the paper that they're trying to offer Deontay Wilder step aside money. I'm not sure how that goes. I don't think, obviously, you know, if he does that, he's got his opportunity for the trilogy. If he'd like to step aside and give, you know, take the big money, because I heard they offered him 8 million. He's asking for 10. It's a hell of a lot of money for step aside. You know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, Dillian just deserves his shot, man. Like I said.
Do you know what, Dean? I think so much of it, many of us are just like, we've all kind of, everyone's a little bit invested in Dillian and like know what he's gone through. And I think everyone really just wants to see him get the opportunity. Yeah,
and he deserves it, you know what I mean? Because with his resume, fighting the fighters he's done, you know, there's no one else that, you know, a lot of these top boys have fought the kind of names he's fought without fighting for a world title. But let's not jump the gun and overlook Povetkin, because Povetkin for me is, you know, he's an former Olympian, former world title holder, and he's still strong, very explosive, and he's durable, as you show against the young, hungry Hunter in Saudi. You know, great comeback. I thought he was out of there early. He managed to weather the storm and come back. But you know, if that comes and Deontay Wilder and him do the trilogy, Dillian deserves his shot. February 2021. And I just think, you know, this is the game of boxing. You're going to have patience. And saying that, that is a true testament to a lot of young fighters to understand. You see what Dillian's gone through. Some fighters would probably lose their mind dealing with this, but he didn't sit on the sideline and say, I'm going to stay here and get rusty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fight, I'm going to stay active, I'm going to fight, and to keep the right mindset. And that's a champion's mindset. So that's a good thing for a lot of these young boys to learn and understand. Sometimes things might not be going your way, but you got to stay true to your hustle and just keep the mindset, keep training, trusting, you know, in God and things, and the process, and you'll get your shot when it comes.
Fantastic advice. Right, take one or two more right before we go.
No, I can't answer anymore. I'm very sorry. My dinner is waiting. No. That's why I know I'm a wind up, sir.
Karen has asked, if you have to quarantine with 5 people, dead or alive, who are you picking?
No, you know what it is? I'm getting old now. I don't want no bad people around me. I'll tell you what I want.
What do you want?
My Ray and nephew. And a bit of ginger beer. That's it. Ray and nephew, my alcohol, and a bit of ginger beer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your nephew.
No. It's a drink. I don't. No, I don't know about. You know, what it is? I like my space. I like, you know, like a bit of peace and quiet if I can get it. I'm getting a bit old now, so I just want a little peace and quiet, a little drink, warm me chest.
Okay, you're talking to an Irish woman here. Tell me about this drink. What is it? Is it a spirit?
Yes, you've never heard of Ray and Nephew. It's a Jamaican drink.
No.
Go and look for that drink here, and when you drink that, you just text me how you feel the next day. It's like 60-something%.
So is it a rum?
No, yeah, it's a rum. It's a white rum see-through. Ray and Nephew.
Ray and Nephew. Do you mix it or do you drink it straight?
You definitely don't want to drink that straight. You will just you won't drink that straight. You got to mix it with something. But okay. Yeah, it's brilliant drink. Drink that and thank me later.
Okay, well, I'll drink that. I'll thank you later, and then I want you to drink a Jameson whiskey, right? That's
No,
the
I like
trade.
Jameson. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I drink Jameson. Jameson's nice. I'm a little bit of a whiskey man. I probably drink too much at the minute because it's bloody lockdown. But hey, what can we do, eh?
Right, I'll take one more question. Have a little quick look in here. Loads of people saying, love your knowledge, great interview. You know,
much,
just looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. Team Woodall, when is Steve Woodall fighting?
Is that bloody from Steve Woodall?
Yes.
I bloody knew that was fucking that sod. Listen, Steve as well, you know what? Steve's my guy, you know, like, Steve is shit. No, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello? Yeah, Steve's my guy, man. Steve has got tremendous talent. He's done a lot of stuff as an amateur. Steve's got, I think for me, Steve's just got to have a little bit more patience. It's coming. I know it's taken a long time, but it's coming. And you know what? I don't really rest or sleep. You know what I mean? I think Steve's going to be out definitely over the next few months. And he's going to be able to showcase his skills, showcase his devastating power. For me, I just want to really see Steve in the gym so I can have a look. So, you know, I'm confident in obviously what I see, what he's showing me. But at the same time, I want to be confident in making my decision against the people I want to match him against. He has got a winner's mindset. He says he will destroy, he will seek, he will destroy, he will beat. And I believe in, I got faith in him. Like I said, all the guys I bring on I don't bring on people and just say I'm going to take on everyone. I get so much people talking to me about management. And I mean, guys who are 10-0, this and that, doing stuff. But I can't take on everyone because it's real energy I put into what I'm doing. I don't, you know what I mean? I know sometimes people might think, you know, like, oh, this is hard because they don't hear from this and that. But at the same time, it's a long road. I talk to people, I email people, and sometimes, you know, you just got to be persistent. Keep knocking at the door. It will open, or guess what? It will fall over. So for Steve, I think he'll be out. You know, I talked to the guys. He knows I spoke to them, and hopefully we're going to get some stuff done up over the next few days. But he's right, man. He deserves to be out there, man. He looks in tremendous shape. He's a little beast. He just got to keep doing what he's doing and trust the process that I'm going to deliver. And you know, I got to deliver because that's just in my nature that I want it. Obviously, if it weren't for this lockdown, I'm sure we definitely would have had something going on anyway somewhere now. But obviously what's going on now has kind of flopped us. But at the same time, listen, he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. I'll keep pushing my end, and hopefully he'll get out, and we'll get him out a couple of times this year, and then he can go out there and show me and the rest of the world what they've been missing. Obviously, he's been out of the sport for about 3 years now, so I understand. But he's just got to be smart and make sure he's doing the right things. I know he's living the life, he looks the part, but I'd just like to see him in the gym, just seeing how, because I know Steve's a little killer. I watch his fight. He wants to go in for the kill too much. So I just want him to be a bit more patient, a bit more poised. I know he said he's got it, but I'd like to see him in the gym. So come on, Steve, you know I got your back, my brother.
Right, very, very finally, Daniel has asked a good one here. Best bit of advice, a one-liner, what can you give me?
Application, apply, stay focused. I think that's for me. Why I say that is just, I think, like, you know, you got the application in what you do and applying it, and then stay focused on your journey. And I think that's the best bit of advice you can give to someone, meaning they just got to stay focused, train hard, and learn their skill, man. Because, you know, whatever you do, however skillful you think you are, in 3 years time from now, you're going to even think, Raj, you know what, I'm even better than I was 3 years ago. Or if you are going the reverse, then you should just quit boxing. But mostly, if you got the right team, you know, people advise you, you should progressing year in, year out, and going up the levels towards like fighting for a world title. That's just me.
Great advice. Well, on that note, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No. Thank you for being patient with my dodgy internet. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. You know what I mean? I hope you're all staying well and looking after yourself and staying healthy and team. And thanks for having me.
No problem. And hopefully I get to see you at some stage, whether it's this year or next year, and we'll get to do a proper one.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned anyway. I'm hoping, like I said, to do a show. Once I know what the board's got planned, me and my team, I'm hoping to do something maybe July, August, September. Let's see, maybe more towards then. I would like to put on a, behind closed door stuff, and maybe the boys who are on the smaller shows and I can't get it, I'll put them on there and try and push them and watch what they're doing and try and see. But yeah, I'm just trying. Listen, I love what, like, being around the game. I've missed it, so I just want to kind of get in there and just do what I can.
Brilliant, great news. Well, look forward to hearing all the details.
Thanks very much. Listen, have a good night, guys.
Dean.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. See you later. Bye.